You sacrifice 2 hours of sleep to gain a competitive advantage in the morning. You set your alarm for 4 a.m., convinced that extracting more conscious hours from the day is the absolute metric of elite discipline. You believe you are outworking your competition while they sleep. But in clinical neuroscience, this is a catastrophic miscalculation of your biological architecture. You are not gaining time. You are artificially accumulating a highly suppressive neurochemical called adenosine. You are initiating your workday from a baseline of profound, mathematically verifiable neurological deficit. You are artificially accumulating a highly suppressive neurochemical called adenosine. You are initiating your workday from a baseline of profound, mathematically verifiable neurological deficit. You are artificially accumulating a highly suppressive neurochemical called adenosine. You are initiating your workday from a baseline of profound, mathematically verifiable neurological deficit. This philosophy assumes that all hours of conscious execution are mathematically equal in value. It assumes that 16 hours of exhausted output will inevitably yield twice the results of 8 hours of pristine, rested focus.
This is the quantity fallacy. The global market does not reward the sheer number of hours you remain awake. It strictly rewards the cognitive leverage and the asymmetric value of the solutions you synthesize.
By artificially extending your waking cycle, you are not extending your productivity. You are mechanically guaranteeing a state of cognitive decay. To prove this, we must examine the specific chemical exhaust of human consciousness. Every single second you are awake, your cells are burning energy to keep you alive. The raw biological currency of this cellular energy is a molecule known as adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. As your brain burns ATP to fuel your prefrontal cortex, the molecule breaks apart to release its energy. Once the energy is extracted, a specific chemical byproduct is left behind, floating in your brain: adenosine. Adenosine is the biological exhaust of your waking life, and your nervous system is continuously monitoring its accumulation. As the hours pass, this gray exhaust begins to physically bind to highly specific receptors in your neural architecture. Adenosine is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. When it binds to a receptor, it actively suppresses neural activity. It slows down the electrical firing rate of your brain. It creates an immense physical friction in your cognitive processing. In clinical chronobiology, this relentless accumulation of adenosine is defined as sleep pressure. It is a strict mathematical weight that grows heavier with every single minute you remain conscious. By 10 p.m., your sleep pressure has reached a critical maximum threshold. The density of adenosine bound to your receptors is so immense that your brain physically forces you into a state of extreme lethargy.
At this exact moment, sleep is no longer a luxury, nor is it a sign of a lack of discipline. It is a non-negotiable biological mandate required to prevent literal neurological poisoning.
When you finally close your eyes and surrender to the sleep cycle, you initiate the single most sophisticated, vital maintenance protocol in the human body. When you enter deep, slow-wave sleep, your brain executes a mechanical purge. This process is governed by the glymphatic system, the dedicated waste clearance network of your central nervous system. As you sleep, the glial cells in your brain physically shrink by up to 60%. This deliberate structural contraction opens up wide, highly efficient drainage pathways throughout your brain tissue.
Cerebrospinal fluid rushes through these open channels like a high-pressure biological power washer. It aggressively strips the accumulated adenosine exhaust out of your receptors, metabolizing it and flushing it completely out of your brain.
To achieve a 100% clearance of the adenosine debt, this glymphatic flush requires a mathematically strict window of approximately 7.5 to 8 hours. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be hacked.
But you are a high performer. You set your alarm for 4 a.m. You violently interrupt the glymphatic flush before the cycle is mathematically complete. You forcefully boot your conscious software back online. Because you truncated the maintenance window, the cerebral spinal fluid did not finish the purge. A massive, residual layer of gray adenosine remains firmly locked into your neural receptors. You have initiated your new workday with carryover sleep pressure. You are waking up pre-exhausted. Your baseline cognitive capacity is already severely suppressed before you have answered a single email.
The 2 hours you saved by waking up early are not pristine, high-leverage hours. They are deeply compromised, low-velocity hours that will mathematically infect and degrade the rest of your entire day. You attempt to solve this deficit with caffeine. You consume vast quantities of black coffee to force your neurobiology to cooperate. But you must understand the exact mechanism of caffeine. Caffeine does not clear adenosine. It acts as a competitive antagonist. It simply places a chemical blindfold over your receptors, temporarily blocking the brain from feeling the exhaust that is still physically present. You have merely masked the fatigue. Meanwhile, as you work through your morning, you are continuously generating fresh adenosine, which stacks exponentially on top of the uncleared debt from the night before. By early afternoon, the caffeine inevitably metabolizes. The chemical blindfold is removed, and the absolute crushing weight of the compounded adenosine avalanche violently collapses your prefrontal cortex. You are now operating in a state of severe cognitive latency. Your processing speed is mathematically reduced. Your ability to regulate your emotions and tolerate corporate friction entirely evaporates. Let us examine the absolute mathematics of your hustle culture routine. You traded 2 hours of sleep to gain a 16-hour waking window. But because of the adenosine debt, you are executing those 16 hours at 60% capacity.
A competitor who slept for 8 full hours has a shorter, 14-hour waking window, but they are executing at 100% pristine cognitive capacity. Their daily asymmetric output mathematically obliterates yours. You have fundamentally handicapped your own hardware. By sacrificing your glymphatic flush for the illusion of discipline, you have engineered a devastating net loss in your absolute professional leverage. To reclaim your absolute cognitive sovereignty and eliminate your processing latency, you must fundamentally rewrite your biological priorities. You must stop viewing sleep as an obstacle. You must view sleep as the ultimate executive function. You must enforce the 8-hour mandate. This is the non-negotiable biological baseline required for elite cognitive execution and asymmetric wealth generation. When you allow the cerebrospinal fluid to execute a 100% clearance of your adenosine debt, you wake up with zero chemical friction. Your neural pathways are primed for maximum electrical velocity. You achieve deeper states of flow. You synthesize highly complex information in a fraction of the time. You make rapid, highly accurate strategic decisions because your prefrontal cortex is operating without a chemical anchor. You have successfully purged your adenosine debt. You have secured your 8-hour window. You have reclaimed your cognitive leverage. But maintaining this pristine, high-velocity cognitive state is biologically impossible if the literal synapses in your brain are physically jammed with a toxic excitatory chemical. Click here to discover the devastating neurobiology of the glutamate clog. Learn exactly why deep work produces a toxic metabolic exhaust, and why pushing past 3 in the afternoon is mathematically suffocating your own brain tissue.